Also, welcome back to another episode of Mystery Mondays, or Mystery Sundays for some of you guys. So today's case is really strange. Like, it's just weird from start to finish, and the more I looked into this case, the weirder it got. Every single piece of information I found, I was just like, what the heck is going on? So I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one. As always, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy Mystery Mondays and want me to continue to make them. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and let's go ahead and get into it. So today we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Zebb Quinn, who on January 2nd in 2000 disappeared from Asheville in North Carolina at just 18 years old. The night of Zebb's disappearance, he finished his shift at Walmart at 9 p.m. and went into the parking lot to meet his friend, Robert Jason Owens, so that they could go look at a car that Zebb wanted to buy. It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse. They decided to go to the location to see the car in separate cars, but on the way they stopped at the Eblin Citgo gas station, which was located on Hendersonville Road. Security footage at the gas station shows them arriving there at 9:15. Zebb goes in, buys a few sodas, and they both leave in their separate cars towards Long Shoals Road. According to Robert, Zebb actually high-beamed him, flashed his headlights, hit him at about 9:30 p.m, signaling for him to move over or pull over the side of the road. So apparently they both pulled over near T.C. Robertson High School because Zebb received a page and he left because he needed to go find a payphone so that he could call back the person that had paged him. When he came back, Robert said that he was frantic, he was in a completely different mood, and he actually cancelled their plans to go and see the car. And he was so frantic that on his way to leave after cancelling plans, he actually rear-ended Owens's car. And that was the last time that Zebb was ever heard from. Later that night, Owens actually showed up at a hospital with a head injury and fractured ribs, saying that he had been in a second car accident that night, even though his injuries were not consistent with that of a car accident. Which is kind of a coincidence to be in two car accidents that night, which, by the way, the car accident was never reported and never claimed on any insurance policies. 2 days later, someone called into Zebb's work at Walmart, and they were actually impersonating him. They were pretending that Zebb was sick. So basically they just called in, pretending to be Zebb, saying that they were sick and they couldn't come into work. But the person on the other side of the phone knew Zebb, knew what he sounded like, and was like, this is not Zebb. So they traced the call, and it led back to the Volvo plant which Owens worked at. Police questioned him because obviously that is freaking weird, and Owens admitted to making the call, but he said that Zebb actually asked him to make the call. And after Owens' initial statement, he stopped helping police, he stopped cooperating with the police on this case. But it gets weirder. So the page that Zebb received that night was traced back to his aunt's home, and him and his aunt barely spoke. They rarely spoke. And she also denied making the call to him. She said she was out at dinner with a friend that night and wasn't home. And the friend that she was at dinner with that night was the mother of Misty Taylor, who Zebb kind of had a relationship, I guess, with. Like, they weren't in a relationship, but they were kind of talking and having kind of like a thing behind Misty's boyfriend's back. Zebb was pretty much in love with Misty, apparently, but on top of this, her boyfriend was abusive. Apparently, the boyfriend had threatened Zebb when he found out that Misty and Zebb were speaking, and also, Misty and Zebb were apparently at this dinner. Now, on top of this, Zebb's aunt claims that she was broken into that night, but nothing was taken. Just a few photo frames had been moved around, which is how she knew that she had been broken into. Moving forward to January 16th, which was 2 weeks after Zebb's disappearance, his car was found in the parking lot of the Little Pigs Cafe, which was across the road from the Missions St. Joseph Hospital, which his mum, his grandmother, and his sister all worked at. A pair of lips and 2 exclamation marks were drawn on the back window of Zebb's car in lipstick, and there was a literal living Labrador mix puppy, which was 3 months old, which was found inside the car and it didn't belong to Zebb. And you guys know I had to look into this, and one of the investigators actually adopted the puppy, which I was happy about. This puppy could have been in there so that somebody found the car immediately. His mum actually thinks that the car was put there so that she would find it, because if there's a puppy in the car, people are going to notice, like a puppy alone in a car, people notice that kind of shit. So his mum reckons that the car was put specifically there so that she would hear about it or that she would find out about it, and the puppy, people think, was put in there so that people would notice that the car was there. They also found a hotel card in the car as well, which couldn't be traced to any hotels or motels. They found a jacket which was not Zebb's. They found a few pieces of hair in there, hair fragments that weren't Zebb's, as well as a few water bottles, or drinking bottles, I think, not water bottles. But unfortunately, the car brought no new leads into the case. Post-disappearance, police actually believed that Zebb was murdered and started treating the investigation as a homicide investigation. Now, let's talk about Robert Owens. Now, this guy is really weird. So he actually ended up spending about 23 months, I think it is, in prison for minor crimes, which were unrelated to Zebb's death. But here's the kicker. In March 2015, he was arrested for the murder of the Codd family. Owens murdered Joseph Codd, Christine Codd, and her unborn child, and their remains were found dismembered in his wood oven. The Codd family actually considered Owens a friend. They hired him to work on their house. They even invited him to their wedding. So the whole situation was just really fucked up. They were actually gonna put him up for the death sentence because of these murders, but he avoided the death sentence, but he did plead guilty to the murders. So moving on to theories, I think firstly it's important to note that the police actually think that more than one person was involved in Zebb's murder. If it was a murder, his body was actually never found. So it's possible that he's still alive, but police are treating it as a homicide investigation. The first theory is that Misty was in the aunt's apartment that night and called him, wanted to meet up with him at a motel or a hotel, so he went, he met her, and Misty's boyfriend found out. It's possible that he became really angry, he found out where they were staying, and he murdered Zebb. It's also possible that Misty may have helped to hide the body. I'm not really sure. That could have been why they thought that two people were involved, but it's not too far-fetched considering there are reports that the boyfriend was abusive and he knew that they were speaking and got angry when they were even speaking, so this is a possibility. It's also possible that the boyfriend was actually the one to make the call and lured him out. Maybe he found out that him and Misty were actually like seeing one another more than just speaking, and he lured Zebb out and killed him that way, which is a possibility, and it could explain why Zebb was so like shaken up. Apparently, according to Owens, why he was so shaken up after the call and like left in such a rush, and he was so like I don't know the word I'm looking for, but so like, you know what I'm trying to get, that he actually ran into the back of Owens's car. Or it's possible that the boyfriend threatened him on the phone to actually leave and just make himself disappear. So it's possible that he did that because his body has never been found. Maybe he made Zebb fear for his life and that's why he left. I feel like this one is pretty far-fetched and unrealistic though, but I just thought I'd mention it anyway. And of course, the last theory is that Robert Owens did it because he was the last person who saw the body. It seems weird that they were going to see a car at 9 p.m. as well. He was the one that called in sick for Zebb, and if Zebb was actually dead at this point, it seems kind of strange that he would call up and say that Zebb was the one who told him to. Could have also been that he called up to throw police off, maybe make them think that Zebb was still alive. I mean, pretty much everything points to this guy. The fact that he was in the hospital for these injuries, which didn't look like they were injuries from a car accident, but he's saying that it was a car accident, and apparently coincidentally was in 2 car crashes that night. Seems pretty strange to me. He could have gotten those injuries from maybe if Zebb was fighting back, if the guy did murder him. Also, on top of the fact that he actually has been convicted for murdering people, seems pretty likely that this is something that this guy would have done. So honestly, if you had to ask me, I would 100% say that it is Owens, that he did it. I just feel like that is the most likely scenario. He was the last one to see him. For all we know, everything that he could have been saying going to see the car, the whole story from that night could have been a lie. and he's killed other people. Like, I feel like the police need to look more into this guy and really like go hard, because I just feel like it's so obvious that he did it. But I would still really like to know what you guys think, what you thought of the case, what theory you believe, what you may think happened to Zebb. Definitely leave that in the comments down below, along with any cases you would like me to cover in next week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did, and hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!